Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. I have Lucas from KWIN. He's joining us today for our podcast, and we're gonna talk about anything and everything. So welcome, Lucas.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love this building. I've never been in this building. It's nice.
Yeah,
It's really nice.
and you're not too far. You're not too far from where we're at.
Yeah, we were on an arch in '99, right by the PG&E building.
Yeah. Now how long have that studios have that been there?
We moved in there in 2015. Prior to that, we were in the PG&E building for a couple years.
Okay.
And then we were on Quail Lakes, and then Pacific, and way back in the day on Kelly Drive.
How long have you been with KWIN now?
Almost 20 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's a long time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, almost 20 years.
I have to ask. I just have to ask. What got you into broadcasting?
Well, it's funny because when I was going to school, my plan was to be a lawyer,
Okay.
or maybe get into politics. And I went to Boise State. I was in high school. I got selected to go to Boise State, where all these nerds go to a college campus during the summer, and we run a state. And then that was our fun. So I graduate high school. I go to college in Boston, and I'm interning at the State House at 18 years old. So, I'd see the governor of Massachusetts, who was William Weld at the time. And I don't know if you know Billy Bulger, Whitey Bulger, the big time Irish gangster. His brother was the Senate president. So he was the Senate president of Massachusetts.
Really?
So I would work with him. And, I was in the State House, and it was fun. And then my sophomore year, my RA goes, hey, there's a job opening at the radio station in town here. It's overnights on Friday and Saturday night, pays $8 an hour. You want to do it? And I was like, yeah, why not? So I did it, and it was a lot of fun. So I was like, this is more fun than being at the State House. So I decided, hey, I'm just going to concentrate on radio now. And I graduated college, and I had a full-time radio job, and it'll be 31 years on March 27th that I've been doing radio.
Really?
Yeah.
And now, when you got into all this was kind of like unplanned, there was never in the back of your mind kind of situation then, it sounds like.
Yeah, I love radio. I thought it was very cool, but it's like playing for the San Francisco Giants or the A's or whatever. You think it's a cool job, but you don't think it's reality. You don't think you're going to be able to do it. And it stumbled upon me like that, and then I'm there, and I'm realizing, well, I actually can do this. I can do this as a full-time career. And
Yeah.
I didn't know it would last this long, though. I thought eventually I'd have to do something, something in reality. So it's been great doing this.
I've been to several public events, here in town. I've seen you there, and you spoke at some of these events, and to me, it always fathoms me, like, just blows me away, like, obviously courage, right, is always a big thing. You want to get up there, you want to speak, you want to talk to all these different people, and sometimes you're like, oh my God, today there's going to be 200 people. What do I say? What do I do? But every single time I not only have I heard you on the radio, but seeing these events that it's so natural. It just comes right off, and I understand it's been years of in the making and experience and practice. But at what point that you realize, like, yeah, this is a piece of cake.
I'd say probably about 10 years into the radio career was when my public speaking became better.
Yeah.
I would get nervous at public speaking, when I first got into radio. I was like great behind the mic, but then when I'm like, in public, I'm a little nervous, I'm kind of quick or whatever. And the more I did it, the more natural it became. And I don't even have to prep a lot of times when I speak. It's like,
just go.
I just go. Like especially if it's a motivational speech, it's like, I just always figure what's going to motivate me. And I just get up there and I start talking, and everything just flows out. It's kind of like magic.
Yeah. You says it flows like it's magic. Now I see. I have a tough time. There are times I can do it. I don't have a problem with it. Just like kind of maybe I have to do like drink some liquid courage, and I'm all right. I'm ready to go. But then there are times I really, I kind of second guess myself, right? In the back of my mind, I'm going, oh man, should I ask this question, or what do I say, or am I gonna goof, and it just puts me into this like psyche at times, But I'm starting to get better at this. I'm starting to get better at it, to speak a little bit more in public and so forth. So it's been, it's a little bit of a learning curve on my end, So it's definitely, I'm trying to learn from the best.
Yeah, it's funny. My first interview ever was Terrell Davis, the running back for the Denver Broncos.
Oh, okay.
So I was on the air, and I'd gotten to Denver it was October of 1998, and he was, coming off of the Super Bowl win. And, I'm doing the show. I was there 3 weeks. I didn't know much about the Broncos. I wasn't a Broncos fan, but I watched them in the Super Bowl. And my boss comes in and goes, "Hey, did I tell you you're going to interview Terrell Davis today?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Well, you are, and he's here." And there he walks in, so I had zero prep time to interview this guy.
Oh my goodness!
And that taught me a lot about interviewing. It's just a conversation, because you have to act like you're hanging out at the bar, having a drink with them, or having lunch, and it's you're just talking and having a conversation. And that's really what an interview is. It's a conversation. So you don't want to do a hard-edged question, because then nobody's comfortable. But when you're just like kind of chilling, having a conversation, it becomes fun, and they enjoy it and they have fun.
So your morning show starts at
6 a.m.
6 a.m. Now, how much prep time the day before do you go into the next day's show, or how do you go about this, in prepping for either the week's itinerary, or just you go day by day? How does that work for you?
Well, I'm constantly prepping in my head. But it's not like a strenuous task. It's not like I'm sitting here like stressed about it. I just live my life, and I talk about things that happen in my life. I observe things, obviously the Super Bowl went on. I talked about the halftime show, and I watched that, and I talked about that on the show. And if I'm out and somebody hits my car or somebody cuts me off, that's an experience I can talk about in the air, and people can relate to it. Like this morning when I got to work, I walk in with my backpack, and I put my backpack on the table and it's drenched, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? Did I leave my water bottle open? I open up the backpack and the water bottle's fine, and then I pull out this energy drink, and there's no energy drink in it.
Oh no!
And it's like not opened or anything. There was like a puncture happened, and it leaked all over. And stuff like that I can talk about, because people can relate to that. And
I see.
And I said it was a bad start to the morning, but then I thought, well, it's not as bad as being Drake or Patrick Mahomes today.
Yeah, that is true. Let's talk about that. What did you think about Kendrick Lamar's performance, last night at the Super Bowl? What are your thoughts?
I thought it was brilliant. I mean, he literally, as an artist, he went against the grain,
he did.
And he did it his way, which everybody always says. All these artists say, I'm going to do it my way, and, I make the final call. And then you see them on stage, and they're just doing what they're told to do. Like, Usher did a great Super Bowl performance when he was out there. It was choreographed. It was phenomenal. But I don't remember the dance moves.
Right.
Do you?
I don't, but I remember his shoes.
You remember his shoes, yeah.
He wore Jordan 4s.
He wore Jordan 4s. Because you're a shoe guy.
I'm a shoe guy. A shoe guy.
With Kendrick, there was definitely a message, and it definitely was destroying Drake. And I didn't know if he would do Not Like Us. That was the big question. Was he going to do the song? And he teased it, and then he did the song. And then as he's starting it, I'm like, well, is he going to call Drake out? And then he did call Drake out.
Yeah. It was kind of like you picked up on little things as it went. Even though it was only for, it was like 12-minute long or 11-minute long, whatever. It just seemed like the 12 minutes seemed like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And when you look at that, and every little thing that kind of popped up, what do they call them? Easter eggs, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of like, oh, this is what is going on, and it, like one thing led to another. They would tease one to add to another, and it just would lead up to, then boom, it's the song that everyone was questioning.
Yeah.
Is he really going to do it? And he did it, and you're right. It's for them, for any artist, I guess, however they want to express, however they want to go about it, I feel like, they should do it. And I guess in media, it doesn't matter how you do it, how you perform it. It's like when you have like that wave of excitement or that trend, everyone wants to be a part of that, right? They want to be, oh, that's that song. I'm gonna bump it. I'm gonna play it. And I'm all about it. It didn't matter if it was, like you said, against Drake or whomever it was. It's just one of those things like, oh, it's a good song.
Yeah, no, it's a great song, and I love the artistry behind it. And it reminded me, on a lesser scale, of when Jose Feliciano at Dodger Stadium did, the national anthem, and he did it completely different than anybody else had ever done it. Like he did a whole different spin on it. And I remember there's controversy with that. They were like, he's disrespecting the national anthem, doing it that way. But it was his interpretation of the song, just like Drake's halftime show was his interpretation. You might not like it, but that's him, and it's okay to not like art. Art is subjective.
Right. So now, because of that, today, did you guys play more Kendrick Lamar music on air because of that? Like, how did that play into today's schedule?
It's hard to avoid anything Kendrick Lamar right now. He's got the album is so huge. I mean, 30 for 30 is a huge song. Luther is a huge song. So yeah, we were definitely playing a lot of Kendrick, but I think we would have played it even if he bombed. Because his music's so hot right now.
And music playlist. You come into work every day, you have your selection.
Yeah.
Now, if someone were to call in, and I've always wanted to ask you this, and said, hey, I want to play some old school, some Boys to Men, or Notorious Big or Ice Cube or something like that. Would you guys bring that back and play that?
Yeah, sometimes we play some Biggie and Ice Cube and stuff like that. Throw in some old school favorites. And mix it up a little bit.
Nice.
And Digital Underground.
I love Digital Underground. Yeah. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
What is your favorite genre of music?
I like everything. I know that's a kind of a cop-out to say, but I do. I enjoy everything except I'm not a real big country music fan.
Okay.
I like Willie Nelson and Dolly Parton and that type of country, maybe Eddie Rabbitt. Newer country, not so much, but I love hip-hop and I love rock. I've been listening to hip-hop probably since about 79 or 80. I mean, I remember hearing Rapper's Delight on the radio and Grandmaster Flash, New York, and The Message. Those songs definitely hit me. And Run DMC, Rock
Beastie Boys.
The Beastie Boys. I mean, all those songs cut through when I heard them, and it definitely put me in a love of hip hop.
Yeah, nice. When you listen to music, outside of your realm and outside of because obviously your day job. Yeah. We know KWIN plays more, R&B, hip hop, and things like that. And you go outside and you listen to like rock or whatever it is. Would there be any, times that you're like, hey, I like this. I want to intro this into my show or something. Or is it something like, hey, this is just what KWIN's based about, and these are the only music that we were not saying only allowed to play, but that's just kind of like our station's, motto.
Yeah, you're not gonna break in. Like, I love the Grateful Dead. I'm definitely not gonna play the Grateful Dead on KWIN because the audience doesn't want to hear it. You have to give the audience what they want. Like, if I was on a rock station, I might spike in a little Grateful Dead, Althea or whatever. But I mean, I think the Grateful Dead is a brilliant band. I think their music is timeless.
Yeah.
And John Mayer now is in Dead and Company, and I think the music's magical, and I think that. I would introduce it to people that like hip hop, but not on the radio because that's me forcing it on them.
I see.
Like, they're not coming to hear the Grateful Dead on KWIN. That's for sure.
Tell me a little about your hobbies. What does Lucas do for fun?
Well, I work out every day, every single day.
You're a beast.
Yeah, I mean, I have one day off. It's Friday. Fridays, I don't work out on Friday.
Okay.
But every other day I work out. I do body isolation. I work, shoulders and chest and tri, and I do the, bi and back day and leg day. So I love being in the gym. It inspires me. I did run marathons. I'm taking a little break from running, but I'll get back into running again. I love pushing my body to its limits, and fighting through pain. When I was running marathons, my legs were all messed up. Now, like lifting upper body, my shoulders are all like, like today I can barely move my shoulder from, doing shoulders the other day. And I love the fact that, the body recovers and you see your body transform. And I'm big into diet, and I'm also big into my cheat day, and I have a cheat meal. So I love to eat. I love to travel. This year coming up, I'm going to a couple of games, a couple of Giant games at Dodger Stadium.
Okay.
Go down to San Diego, see some games down there. Go to Anaheim and see the Giants play there, and Colorado as well. So I love traveling, and I love driving too. I'm a big driver.
I know you're a big sports guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because on your social media, you post just a ton of, ball games that you. I remember you used to go to a lot of A's games.
Yeah.
And then I know you switched over to the Giants. And so forth. And I know you've been to a couple Niners games. And so like you're always like a big sports fanatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your favorite sport?
Baseball.
Baseball.
No ifs, ands, or buts. But I go to 30 San Francisco Giant games a year. I used to go to a bunch of A's games too, but they're no longer representing California, so kind of had to cut them off.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I feel really bad. I mean, it's not a bad organization in the sense of like fan base, and they're very loyal. It's just unfortunately, it just didn't seem like they have a good ownership group or any type of leadership or something for that organization. And it's hard to see a team like that go.
Yeah, no, I mean they're a legendary team. I'm growing up, they were the best. I mean, in the '80s, I mean you had the Bash brothers, and Ricky Henderson. I mean, they were an awesome team to watch and enjoy the games. And even in the early 2010s with Coco Crisp and all those guys, they were fun to watch. And but they decided to move on, and that's fine. I mean, they have you own the team, you can do whatever you want to do with it, but I'm not going to support it.
Yeah. Two boys.
Yeah, two boys.
And I remember your oldest played football.
Yeah.
And he is a beast.
Yeah, he's huge. Yeah.
Like, size-wise. And I'm going, man, what do you feed him?
Yeah.
What is he doing now?
He's working on being a firefighter. So
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
He stopped playing football because he messed up his knee.
Okay.
And he didn't want to injure himself so bad that he couldn't pass the fire exam, or do something really messed up. So he stopped playing football, and now he's just working on being a firefighter.
Nice. Oh, whereabouts?
He's at Delta College right now.
Oh, so he's back home.
Yeah, he's back
local.
home.
Okay.
Yeah, back home and local, and going to Delta, and then we'll go the EMT route first, and then become a firefighter.
And your youngest?
My youngest, Sean, he's big into computer engineering. He's at Delta too.
Okay.
He's 19 years old. He also works at Chick-fil-A part-time.
Really?
Yeah. So he goes to school and works at Chick-fil-A.
I love Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Well, you'll see him over there. He's a 6'5" kid. He's so tall. Both of my kids are huge, 6'3" and 6'5".
I know, and you are?
I'm 5'7". On a good day. On a good day, I'm 5'7".
Oh, man.
Diet is everything. It's like, it's funny because one day Sean is he's really a brilliant kid, and he researches everything. And he said, I looked it up, and he said, height is only 60% hereditary. The other 40% is diet. And I said, you're welcome.
Oh my goodness, I love it. And now, they're both at home.
Yeah.
And the good part about all this is, I remember back in the day, and I won't name the school because we used to live in the same area, and I remember seeing you, and this was before I knew you really well. Yeah. And I would always see you pick up your boys from this elementary school. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, he must live near us, and it was just kind of cool to see you. I heard this guy in the morning.
Yeah.
And then after school, he's picking up his boys, and it was just neat, and to see you around in the community and everything else, and I know you do so much, in our community. I personally want to say thank you.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love being out in the community. I love helping people, and any way I can, because the community helps each other. If we have a good, strong community, you and I benefit from it. Everybody benefits.
Yeah, yeah. And I know we've done two things together. More recently. One was the toy drive.
Yeah, that was a huge success.
Yeah, it was with El Concilio, and didn't get to share this with you. So the day of, we collected all the toys and we loaded up and we went to their facility in downtown Stockton, and we really thought we were just dropping off the toys, seeing some people, just saying hi, and then just kind of say, hey, really appreciate the opportunity, and so forth. They were so welcoming. They said, come on in. We want you to see what we're all about. And we're like, okay, sure, Didn't expect it at all. So we go in there and they had their like little areas, classrooms of these kids, and they're probably from like TK to maybe second grade.
Okay,
or
so
first
really
grade.
young, yeah.
Really, really young.
Yeah.
And so we brought the toys in, we broke it all out, separated them by age and groups and all this, and the kids were coming in by classroom. And they started with the youngest all the way to the oldest. And here they are, they're coming and getting the toys and everything. And afterwards, the parents came in and they were all like thanking us. Going like, hey, really appreciate you for doing this. I remember one family, the mom came in, she's like, we don't really have much, and this is something special for my son, and it means so much. And then another one, a grandmother came in. She didn't speak any English. They translated for me, and she said, you guys are a blessing, and it really just have means so much to my grandson. And I'm sitting here going like, oh my goodness, this is so cool.
Yeah.
By raising all these toys, and you have some sort of an impact to these families, and it didn't matter what it was. They didn't it didn't matter. It was just more like, this is positive and we really appreciate it, and it was good. So I just want to say, hey, thank you so much for working with us on that, and I think
absolutely.
that was great.
It's humbling when you meet people that are struggling, because I know that there's days and there's moments in time where I feel like I'm struggling. You probably feel like you're struggling, and then when you look at the scheme of things, our struggles are small compared to
Others.
What other people are going through. And I remember years ago in 2015. I was with my friend Ali, and we selected somebody off of my Facebook page that needed some help. So I told them I'd bring them a gift card of like $500 or whatever down to their house. And I got to the house, and I get there, and there's like a tree that's like maybe like that big, and and then there's kids running around the house, and they were so thankful about this $500 gift card. And that was at the moment in time when my son Jack, who was very animated, said, this is a Christmas miracle. And then they started crying and everything. But there's just so many people that are struggling and need help out there. And, and it's great when you get to touch them and help them out and, make a dream come true.
Yeah, exactly. And then our second one, that's when you hit me up. You're like, hey, are we going to, you guys going to do anything for the LA fire victims? And I was like, I never, thought about it because we're so far away.
It's like 6 hours away, yeah.
And, could we make an impact, right? And, come to think about it, and I was like, yeah, we can do something. And a friend of mine, she's a meteorologist for Fox LA.
Yeah.
And her son and my son play hoops together, together in LA. And, I got to know her really well. And I was like, you know what, maybe I can reach out to her, through her community, since she lives right there, to say, hey, what can we do to, help? And so, she gave me some, some intel, what's going on, resources, names, contact, the whole deal. And we put it together just like instantly. And we when we connected, it was it a week and a half, 2 weeks?
Yeah, it was
I think
a quick turnaround.
It was a quick turnaround. And literally within 48 hours of our deadline, okay, 40 hours of our deadline. And this is another part I didn't get a chance on. I'm glad I'm able to share this with you. You know, the goal was to fill my car hauler up with goods and my truck, and we're just hop in the truck and we're gonna just truck it down there. And we ended up getting like a carload of diapers, an SUV full of baby formula. We ended up getting 5 pallets of water. UOP gave us 30 boxes of brand new Nike gear.
Wow, that's huge.
Huge. We ended up getting a ton of like toiletries, the like toilet paper, paper towels, you name it, all that stuff. And we had the back warehouse just filled with stuff. We had stuff outside. We were going through it. There was like a team of us, like 6 of us, just sorting through this whole thing. And we literally filled up my car hauler. I didn't think we were going to, honestly. Only because it was to a point where within 48 hours I was sitting there going like, oh guys, I don't know if this is going to be a successful, situation. And then all of a sudden, everyone in the community from here to Lodi, everyone just decided to say, hey, we got all this stuff. We heard about it.
Let's go.
And we're sitting there going like, this came out of left field, right? And we're like, yeah, like please do. And I think that just motivated our team even more. And so, we were able to put that together, and we left 5 o'clock in the morning, got down there about 10:45, made 2 stops, dropped everything off. Everyone was so thankful. And just said it was a blessing, the whole deal, appreciate it. And then by 1:30 we hit the road and
came back
same day.
Yeah.
Same day. It was a long haul. It was a long haul for my team. And it was one of those situations where, we felt like at first we didn't feel like we had that impact, right? But then when it was all said and done and you heard the response from those that were helping us, and then you hear about the locations that we dropped them off to, you kind of feel like, okay, this is good, this is positive. And when I reached out to my friend, she told me, I told her, I said, look, I don't want to send it to just any charity.
Yeah.
I want an organization that is near and dear either to you or to your community, that we know this will go to someone.
Yeah, somebody in the area that's in need. Yeah.
Yeah, and her and I talked, and it was like, she was sharing with me, like there's some place that they would take the stuff and resell it to make a profit, or they would do certain things to.
Consider a different part of the country, or
Yeah, it just would never affect just that community. So, she gave us a couple names, and we're like, okay, and we reached out, and we made sure, like, yes, this is going to the actual victims of the LA fires, right? And so we're like, okay, let's, we're in. So it was very successul, in what we did. And I just want to say thank you again for teaming up with us on that.
Well, hopefully we'll keep teaming up and get some people helped out. And, and the fires are so devastating in LA. I mean, it was, I go down to LA, like I said, I'm down there baseball season. Whenever the Giants play the Dodgers, I go down to Dodger Stadium, and I've been to Altadena, and Altadena's, leveled. I mean, that's where but I mean, everybody grew up watching the Beverly Hills 90210 show.
Yes.
The house is there. I heard it's still standing, but all the ones around it are gone. So the area is not the same.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, to hear, the stories behind it, right? Like obviously the moment is a tragedy and it's sad. But the after effect that no one ever thinks about, and as my friend, she said, she even told me, she said, we're probably going to cover this for like another week, and then they're moving on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the craziest thing is that
right?
The news and the media moves on.
Yeah.
But the people that are affected have to live through it every single day, and people stop caring. Because they do. I mean, when it's not front and center, people stop caring.
Yeah, and you look at that, you're kind of going, could we do something 3, 4, 5, however many months down the road? Are they still going to be in that situation? Are they going to be rebuilding by then, or are they going to be, hey, I'm just going to move on. I'm going to move to another city, or I'm just going to move out of state, whatever it may be. And it's just hard to fathom that because, yeah, I mean, once the media stops reporting about it, it's kind of like almost like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I mean, it affected me a lot because I'm down there all the time. And I had a picture of, my son Jack. He went to school down there for a while, and he was in Malibu. We went to a pizza spot, and that pizza spot's not there anymore. It burned to the ground.
Oh.
And there's a picture of him there. So it's absolutely sad, and that area in Malibu will never be the same. I doubt that they're ever going to build those houses along the ocean. All those houses that were along the ocean, I mean, those houses would probably never be built again.
I remember driving. This is probably maybe a couple years ago. Driving down, the PCH, and you're right. You see the homes there. I remember stopping off at Duke's and and eating there, and you just go down and they're nice homes, and I'm sure probably 95% of them are probably gone.
And it's really just devastating.
Yeah. What gets you into, like community, being active in the community? Like what part of that, like just, drives you?
Contrary to what you see on social media, people are inherently good. If you live your life on X, formerly Twitter, even Facebook or Instagram, you think the world's a miserable place because people are arguing and they're fighting. Mm-hmm. But when you meet those people in real life, they're not like that. I've met, a lot of people in radio and, famous people and listeners and stuff like that. And I've met some people, like listeners, that have said rude things to me on the phone line. Then when you meet them in person, they're very nice. And people can say, well, they're being phony or this or that. But I don't know that they're being phony or they're just good people. Mm-hmm. And they're nice people. And they just, for a moment in time, they just lose their mind. So I like to believe that most people are good, and and when people are struggling, they're good people going through tough times. I'd like to help them out because if God forbid I'm going through a hard time, I'm pretty sure somebody would help me out. I've never had a moment in time where I've been struggling that I wasn't able to get out of it. And obviously, you don't do that on your own.
Yeah.
I raised two boys, by myself, and we always had a roof over our head.
Right.
And we always had food to eat. We never, we might have ate kid cuisine. Back in the day, we might have been eating that. But we always had food to eat, and there's always people around to help. Like, I found daycare that was reasonable, that somebody cut me a deal with, daycare. So, it's kind of like almost paying it forward and paying it back.
Yeah. That's so awesome. And you're on the air every day and you definitely reach a lot of different, audiences, right? And you never know, you're absolutely right, like you never know who you can touch that day.
Yeah.
Or that moment or event, right? And it could be good or bad.
Yeah.
Right? But I think at the end of the day, no one should, hate on you because you're just doing what you should be doing as a radio broadcaster, right? Like you should, tell the good, the bad, and should have those debates of, no matter if it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just, it's good dialogue to have, and it brings, I think that brings a lot of people together because there might be something that someone may disagree, and I might look at it and go, hey, you know what, they might have a point. Or I never thought of it that way or something, and it could turn out to be something, a good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there are joyless people out there, but those are also damaged people. Like those people are very damaged and angry, and there's a reason probably behind their anger and why they're upset.
Earlier you mentioned you're a foodie.
Yeah.
Even though you're Mr. Diet,
we're
foodies in here too, and I want to know, what is your, give me a couple good spots that you like to go eat.
Locally or?
Locally.
Okay, I like the Market Tavern a lot.
Okay.
The Prime Table. That's
Okay.
another great spot. You can't go wrong with the Waterloo. That's a great spot. The best sandwich in town, in my opinion, is John's on the Miracle Mile.
John's Deli.
Yeah, John's Deli. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a regular over there.
Are you really?
Yeah. Well, you know, when I want a sandwich, I definitely go over there. It's a great sandwich, and I'm very big into customer service.
Okay.
And you know, when I walk into John's, they know who I am. You know, whether I'm in there once in 6 months or every week, you know, I get the same greeting. Oh my God, we missed you. You know, we haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing to me. And you know, it's a welcoming environment there. So I love that environment. Same thing with the Market Tavern. You know, I know our zoo over there. And
Yeah.
every
She's
time
the bartender over there. Yeah.
Every time I walk in there, she gives me a hard time. You know, and
When is she not?
I know. Yeah. So it's like
You know?
that's what I look forward to. I love when people, you know, recognize you and treat you well. And I'm a big customer service person.
Nice.
And I love supporting local businesses too. Octavio is another spot. I love that spot. My
Okay.
friend George sings over there on Friday nights.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite food, like type?
Pizza.
Pizza.
Pizza. I love pizza.
So what's your favorite pie of choice?
I love pepperoni. I know it sounds basic, but pepperoni or mushroom those are my two favorites on
Lucas,
pizza toppings.
pepperoni. I mean, you might as well say cheese pizza.
Yeah.
What are you,
And
12?
And mushroom. Well, you know, I got to go with the tradition. I got to go with the
Okay,
tradition.
all right.
Mushroom too. And
Okay.
yeah, it's a constant debate on who has the best pizza. There's a lot of places that are good.
You know, that is always, I think that, like pizza in general has always been the debate of all, right?
Yeah.
Like who, you know, who has the best crust or who has the best ingredient, who puts more ingredients, like is this cheesy enough or this one's buttery, you know, like everyone has all these different, you know, opinions or take on it, and I never feel like you can win with any place, really.
Yeah, there's always, you know, the one, I think Gold Dust is the best in Manteca. And,
Okay.
in Ripon, they have a Ripon, Manteca, and they have one in Modesto now. I think
Okay.
that's a great spot. And Michael's Pizza, I think, is good too. I think that's a really great one. And Eddie's is kind of like the traditional one, where you know, the old school one. You know, that's a great spot too.
Now, are those like the Ricks, the Eddies, and you know, are they all related? Because I feel like they all have when you walk in it, you kind of get the same
vibe.
feel.
Yeah,
you
I know that Michael's and David's were related. I don't know
Okay.
if Rick's and Lodi is, or Eric's. There's Eric's too. There's like you know, there's a whole bunch of one name pizza spots.
I gotta open one up, call it Wilson's Pizza.
I know you
or
should.
something.
You should.
Jeez, you know.
My favorite pizza spot in America. This is America.
Okay.
Is in San Francisco on Stockton. Oddly enough, on Stockton Street. It's Tony's Pizza, and
Okay.
the guy. Tony is a spectacular individual. You know, he grew up in Fremont and graduated high school, and he toured the world to learn how to make pizza. So he went to St. Louis, Detroit, Chicago, New York, Naples, Italy, and then he opens up a restaurant. And I heard between all of his spots now, he makes $1 million a day.
Selling pizzas.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he's got a bunch of restaurants now. He started with a little spot in 2009.
And just grew and expanded and the whole deal.
You know, but we talked about this, you know, when we got together. There's certain people, when you meet them, like, you know they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
Because they're not passive. And he's somebody who's just not passive. He's very like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And then they follow through. Because there's a bunch of people that, you know, I've met and they have an idea and they never follow through on it. You know, and it's like, you know, so there's so few that follow through, but that's the difference between people that are making $1 million a year or some billions and people that are living paycheck to paycheck. It's a not following through on the idea or being too scared to take a chance.
Yeah, being innovative, aggressive, and so forth.
And not being, I mean, people are worried about looking like a fool.
Yeah.
You know, and that stops people from making money or success or living your dream.
Hey, you know what? Success doesn't come without failure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of
you know,
failure.
you have to fail, right? I mean, no one's perfect. I just got back from Italy not too long ago and went to Rome, since we're on the subject of pizza.
Yeah.
And I'm going, let's try some pizza in Italy, right? And I never knew this. And this is only for me. Only for me. It's crazy. So we go there, and it's a spread. They have it all laid out, and they're all rectangular. Nothing's round. Everything's rectangular. And they just move you down the line, kind of like Chipotle. Just like boom, boom, boom. But the pizza's already done. And you're like, hey, I want sausage and mushroom, or margarita, or vegetarian, or whatever it is. And they take a tong, they pick it up, and then they put a scissor to it, and they're like, right here? And I go, I don't know. It looks kind of big, but I mean, I'm an eater. I'll take it. And they're like, okay. So they cut it, right? They put it on a scale, they weigh it, and you pay by the pound.
Oh, wow.
You pay by the pound. It's not like here, you're like, you go to a place, you're like, hey, you can buy it by the slice or by the pie or whatever, right? You buy it by the weight. So I'm sitting here going, this is weird.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like this is crazy. I never, never knew this. And so you can, if you're super hungry, you can say, hey, I want this big of a pizza, or I just want a snack. I just want a little bit. They'll cut it to that size and weigh it. You pay it and you eat it.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right? And I go, the first place I went to that did this actually was in Florence, and we went back to Rome, and we stopped at another place for lunch one day, and I go, oh, is it all places like this? And yeah, sure enough, like the next place we went to, the guy did the same thing, and I'm like, okay, and I slowly learned, that's how they do it in Italy. It's everything's by the pound.
And how did it rank? Was it better than American pizza, or is it?
Everything, I gotta say, is fresher. When you eat carbs here, you feel bloated.
In full, yeah.
And you just kind of like, get that, deal. Over there, I can eat as much pasta I want, and I don't feel bloated at all.
Yeah, and they eat pasta all the time in Italy, and everybody's thin. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah, like every night we had pasta, and I'm going, is there anything else you guys don't eat? Like have that I can have. They're like, no, like we have pasta, and every night it's some sort of
spaghetti,
noodles or whatever, and I'm going, okay. And that was my biggest fear, because knowing what I'm eating here in America, I'm going, I know what I'm going to get myself into when I eat spaghetti and meatballs. I know what I'm going to get into if I eat, raviolis or whatever. And when I'm eating there, it's like, I'm fine. It's the weirdest thing. And I felt like when I went there and I came back, I ate all those carbs. I did a lot of walking. However, I did a lot of walking. But I felt like I lost weight.
You might have. It's interesting. Somebody told me, I'm not going to mention the spot, but it's a chain, and they have French fries, and so they have them all over the world. But in Europe, this place has 3 ingredients for their French fries, and in America they have 11.
Yes, I want to talk about this. Okay, so we went to a grocery store. And we wanted to get snacks and bring back like Italian snacks, for our friends here, and all that candy or whatever it may be, And we'll go to the grocery store, and ketchup, Heinz, perfect. I look in the back. I just want to be curious, right? I look in the back of it, 6 ingredients. I come back and I open my fridge. I pull out my Heinz ketchup bottle. 20 something.
It's crazy.
Right? And I'm sitting there going like, this is absolutely insanity, And I remember I went to the pasta aisle too, and I grab a bag of pasta, I turn it around, I look at the deal, 2 things. That's in that. It's the noodles and one other item, and that's it. I come back, I do the same thing. I go to Safeway, I pull a bag of pasta, I look at it, and there's a dozen stuff that's in this. And I'm sitting there going, oh my goodness, like, I hate to say this, but like, we're not the healthiest.
No, I mean, when you look at Luka, who's on the Lakers now, if you look at him when he came over here versus what he looks like now, he's completely different. He's a lot heavier.
Yeah.
He was thin.
Yeah.
When he came here, and now he's heavy. It's that American diet. It catches up with you.
It's crazy, and I mean honestly, more so lately, I've been on dieting as well too, and I've lost 30 pounds.
Oh,
And
congratulations! That's great.
thank you,
Yeah, yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. It really goes to exactly what you're saying, dieting and exercising and everything, and now and I look back, I'm going, man, I can't believe like the stuff that I would used to eat. Like now I don't. I really don't. I really hesitate if it's like, hey, we're gonna go to In-N-Out Burger or as much as I love Chick-fil-A, I kind of like, oh, not today. Like,
Yeah, those are treats. Like it's a great treat to have.
yeah,
And that's the biggest thing that like happens with a lot of people when they become adults is that all these fast food spots are treats, and then you become an adult and you can have a treat every day.
yeah,
And then you start to like and it's like it's not it tastes better when you have it once in a while versus having it all the time.
yeah, exactly. And I I just don't know. Like, after seeing all this, and seeing what other countries are, what they're doing, it really changes my perspective about like how I eat, how I cook, or
Yeah.
or even going out to go eat. Like there's a lot of that plays in the factor because, I want to make sure I'm healthy for my kids' sake.
Well, absolutely.
You know what I
Yeah, yeah. And people can say whatever they want to say about BMI because people like to use that as an excuse. They go, well, BMI was made in 1950, or 1940s. It doesn't pertain today. People are bigger today. But that's not true because when I was 175 pounds, my BMI was overweight. I wasn't obese, but I was overweight at 175. And my blood pressure was always like 130 over 90, or and I was like, well, my blood pressure just runs high. My
Yeah.
BMI is fine. It's no
Yeah.
big deal. But then when I went on this diet and I got down to 140 pounds, my BMI is perfect and my blood pressure is 110 over 60. So
Go, boy.
we like to make excuses
Right.
for bad behavior, and that's the thing that we have to change because, 175, I was definitely not my healthiest.
I was the same way. I was pushing 199, almost 200. And when I went to the doctor, he said, Wilson, you're almost pre-diabetic. And I'm going, what?
Yeah,
and you don't realize that.
I
Right?
had no, yeah. I look back at my pictures now and I'm like, oh my gosh,
Right.
it's like a big difference.
And I kind of started like, oh, I better really, get back, get my ass in gear and figure out like, hey, I better eat right. I better exercise. I better, monitor my food intake and everything else. So, no, which is good. I think I think we should all, try to make those attempts because, it's so easy. It's really easy to grab a bag of chips
Oh, 100%.
or, I'm going to have a Snickers bar or something, right? And it's just, you don't realize what you're doing to yourself sometimes, and you want to be able to, make sure you take care of yourself.
Yeah,
right?
well, it's an addiction. That's the thing. It's food. I mean, I'm addicted to food. I've definitely, changed my diet, but I ate, because I was running marathons at 175 pounds. I was pushing my body to limits, and the guy I work out with says to me, imagine the calories that you were putting in your body. You were running 26.2 miles, and you were 175 pounds.
Yeah.
So I was probably taking in like 4,000 calories a day.
Yeah, no doubt. Because I know there are times like I would work out, and I'm going, man, I am so hungry, and I want to eat a lot, or something, and then you're burning the calories, but at the same time, there are times I go, okay, I'm gonna kind of hold it back a little bit, and I'm actually gonna see if my body can transition, and kind of like shrinking your stomach, kind of thing, right? And just like less food intake. So it's been working, and I'm kind of on
You
my
look
own
great.
little-
You look great. I mean,
Thank you.
yeah.
I've been trying to do this, as best I can, and just trying to maintain and be a little bit more healthier, I guess, right? Right now, where do you see yourself, in radio? Like, do you see yourself like this is, the career that you're gonna take it to, or there's something else like you want to get into, like, more, TV, or what, what's your
Well, you know, I do podcasting like you. That's kind of like the new way to go. So I
Yeah.
enjoy doing some side projects and podcasting and,
Okay.
and doing a lot of stuff like that. And yeah, you know, I always do some sort of broadcasting. It's always going to be something in broadcasting, whether it's podcasting or radio. You know, I love it. I love being in front of the camera. I love being behind the microphone. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. Man, you've grown into this.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I can't not do it. I can't imagine waking up and not having a show.
Where, you know, like, have you done a show, you know, like off-site somewhere?
Yeah, I've done quite a few. I did the Grammys a number of times, the VMAs, the MTV VMAs,
Oh, really?
American Idol, Billboard Music Awards. I broadcasted from Disney, so I've done some like really fun stuff.
Oh, those are great events to be broadcasting from.
Yeah. The Grammys and the VMAs and American Idol for that. Those were a trip because you're, you know, broadcasting from an event that's watched all around the world.
Yeah. How, in that kind of type of environment, do you have to change your, you know, how you approach things, or do you kind of just do it the same like you would any day, you know, here at KWIN?
You can't do it exactly how you do it here because you constantly have people coming up to the table. So, I had the opportunity at those shows to interview Beyonce, Kanye West, all these big names, and they're constantly coming up to the table. So you have to switch up your content, you know, because you have people coming on constantly, and then you have to be prepared to interview somebody, you know, at a moment's notice. You know? It's not like they said, "Hey, we're giving you Beyonce, and you've got, you know, 20 minutes to prepare for her." They're like, "Yeah, here's Beyonce, go."
Yeah. That would scare the living crap out of me, knowing like Beyonce is going to sit right there talking to me, and then all of a sudden you switch it up and they bring in, like, let's say Jay-Z or whatever.
Yeah,
and you're kind of like, that would be me. You know, I'd be freaking out. But, you know, for you guys to be able to, you know, pull it off like that, I mean, that's so awesome.
Yeah, and it's just those shows were always a rush. I mean, just because you're seeing all of these big names, like I mean, it's still a trip that, like, you know, Beyonce and Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams are all sitting right across from me when we were Destiny's Child.
Wow.
You know, and I did meet Diddy, and I interviewed Diddy.
Did you really?
Yeah.
When these segments, you know, or these interviews happen, do they tell you, you know, how much time do they give you?
There's usually a set time. Like, they'll be like, you've got 5 minutes, you've got 10 minutes. But if it's a fun interview for them, I've noticed that they don't really worry about the time.
Okay, because they're more engaged into it.
Yeah, unless they have someplace to go. But they'll be like, it's good, 8 minutes or 9 minutes, whatever. But if they're having fun, they usually hang out.
Nice. I'm really excited to, what we've done so far. It's been very exciting times, to date, and I'm looking forward to, working with you on more stuff, and I think, more so recently we've kind of developed a good, communication relationship and so forth, and I just want to personally say thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing me in and everything.
Yeah, no, it's been good, and I'm looking forward to continued working relationship and also with the local community as well too. I just like you, Stockton is near and dear to us, and if we can somehow put a little stamp on on our community and what we can do to impact it, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to a lot of people outside of Stockton, and then they always have a perception of what Stockton is from what's reported.
That's very true.
It's funny because, like, if you talk to my kids when they were like 6 or 7 years old, they would always say Stockton's a safe place because it was safe. I kept them safe. It's all about your surroundings and who you're surrounded with. I mean, Stockton, I think it's hard to live in California without having your car biffed at least once. My car's been biffed a couple times, but when I lived in Kansas, my car got biffed. So, but I've never had a gun held in my head or anything like that. People are like, oh my gosh, you're from that. So, yeah, it's all about who you're hanging around with.
But I mean, every town has their bad parts. And unfortunately, we probably get more of the rap, or like they would, when you hear about Southern California, what's the first city, people, you would think of, when you say, hey, what's the hood in LA? They would say like, well, Inglewood or Compton or whatever, right? It's like kind of like the typical, right?
Yeah.
And they would say the same thing about Stockton. I'm going like, I've been here this long. I've never had any issues. And
Well, there's a lot of money in Stockton too. A lot of wealthy people live in Stockton.
yeah.
So-
And I know there's a lot of successful people that live here, and I don't understand why, it's just continue to get that. But I try to keep it as positive as I can.
Yeah, I love Stockton. I chose to live here. I'm not from here. I moved here and I chose to live here. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And you're making an impact into this community, So I just want to say thank you again. I really appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. You guys get a chance. Lucas on KWIN 97.7. He's on the morning show Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. And he is a hoot to listen to in the morning. Please tune in.